Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Trinidadian Kitchen. Today we'll be making Gulab Jamun, the Trinidadian version, or should I say the island version. Because I made something else called Rasgulla for us, which is also known as Gulab Jamun, I'm just gonna say that this, compared to that, is long, a little harder, and the sugar on it's crystallized. It's a recipe that I've made a few times before and they've all came out really good. So if you tried this recipe, I'm pretty sure it will come out good for you guys. Keep watching. Okay, to make this wonderful dessert, there'll be three sets of ingredients you'll need. One is to make the dough. I have here 3 cups of all-purpose flour, a 300 milliliter tin of condensed milk, and 3/4 cup of ghee, or you could use margarine or butter. And I have here some evaporated milk, a tin, just in case I needed to knead the dough after. To make the paag or the sugar syrup, I have 2 cups of white sugar, a little over a half a cup of water, and I have here about 8 elychees or green cardamoms that I crushed up. And we'll put the elychees in at the end because we want the most flavor out of them. And finally, over here I've set up a pot with a mixture of oil and ghee, and since the beginning of the week when I first started making sweets, I was using this exact mixture, and you could reuse this mixture as long as it doesn't get little clumps in it. So the last thing I'll be making with this is laddu, and I will post a recipe for that as well right after this one. So anyway, my mixture of oil and ghee to fry our pieces of dough. I have a metal tray, a metal bowl lined with napkin or paper towel, and I'll take out the paper towel after so that we could mix the sugar into our finished gulab jamun. And I have a plate here to put out our rolled pieces. So to start off here, into my 3 cups of flour, I'm just going to make a well, and I'll throw in all of my ghee. And you're just going to start mixing this and crumbling the ghee into your flour. And just crumble it completely all together until it gets kind of like a breadcrumb consistency. Okay, when everything's crumbled in, you're going to throw in your carnation milk, your evaporated milk. About all of it. And I'm just going to put most, and whatever is still residue on the sides, I'm going to add that in after. And you're just going to mix everything together. This will knead and become very messy for your hands, so just be prepared for that. So I've mixed in all my condensed milk, and I'm going to throw in just a few splashes of my carnation milk, and I'm going to knead this into a dough. It won't knead into a roti dough, but it'll knead something crumbly like what's in my hand right now. Okay, so I've kneaded into this very crumbly dough, and as I knead some parts of it, other parts of it start to break off. Okay, so I'm going to turn on my heat onto medium high, because I want my gulab jamun, which I'm going to make fairly small, to come out perfectly, cooked inside and out. So as you see, I take a small piece, maybe like a ping pong ball size piece of dough, and I'm just going to knead it in my hands like this, and just roll it to smooth out all the cracks in it. Make them small because they will puff up as you fry them. And you're going to make out all of your dough, and by that time your ghee and oil should start heating up. So just a few seconds ago I tossed in one small mini piece of my dough that I made into the gulab jamun shape, and I prepared all my dough to be that shape, and my oil is hot, so I'm going to add in a few at a time, about maybe 6 to 8 at a time. Okay, so you want the insides and the outsides to cook, so it's been almost 2 minutes, and yes, they do fry on the outside fast. And so I will leave it in here for the next 2 minutes as long as I can, and make sure your heat is low enough that it doesn't completely burn and brown right away. but not so low where it takes almost 10 minutes to cook just one batch. This will fry very quickly. Alright, these are nice and firm. They're perfectly colored and they're ready to take out. So I'm going to drain out all the oil from them and I'm going to take them out. And you're going to make all of them the same way, every batch of your dough. Right, so I fried out all of my gulab jamun dough and I just let them kind of dry out in my bowl. And I'm going to make the sugar water to throw on top of them. Okay, so while the gulab jamun is cooling, or the dough is cooling, the longer it cools, the harder and crispier it gets, so that's good. I'm going to turn on my stove onto high, but not the highest. And into my 2.5 cups of sugar, I'm going to put in a little over half a cup of water. And I'm going to give this an initial mix. Again, my Trinidad Cooking with Natasha spoon, my favorite. Okay, so it's at this point where the sugar's all melted and it's trying to come to a boil. This is where I will throw in my elychee. And I haven't used a powdered one because the whole one, it just tastes so much better. And here we go, it's at a boil. And it'll last longer. And I just took the seeds out of fresh green cardamom. Okay, to check if our sugar water is ready, I've taken some ice water. I'm gonna put a few drops of our sugar into the ice water, and if it crystallizes at the bottom, and if you can gather it together like this, and at a certain point pick it up like a ball of sugar candy, it's ready. And that's a perfect sugar for crystallizing, and that's what we want for your gulab jamun. Okay, so if you can see how thick this is, then this is what you want. So I'm going to direct the camera back onto my... Alright, so here's my gulab jamun. And I'm going to take my Paag mixture and I'm going to just pour it over top my gulab jamun. Try to coat each and every piece. And I have a little bit left remaining back, and that's good too. And get every piece coated, but do not let the sugar touch your hand because that's the worst type of burn you can get. Alright, so here it is, our gulab jamun. It's almost there. Some of the sugar is just a little bit wet, but the remaining is quite crystallized. So I'm gonna give this like a second to cool down in this little bowl, and then I'm gonna put them onto a tray, just all in one layer. I'm not gonna stack any of them together. Okay, here it is, our gulab jamun. So this is pretty hot right now, so I'm not completely covering it right away, but this recipe made almost about 50, and I have more in another tray. I just didn't want to let them get so close to each other like this because they'll start to stick. So I'm just letting these ones air out, and I'm trying to get them to just kind of not stick to each other and stay on their own. So this is how I'm going to keep them, and then when they cool down in about an hour, I'm going to fold them over and I'm going to put them with the rest of my sweets. This is my collection of sweets. So today is Wednesday. I started making my sweets on Tuesday, and I will be done on the day of Diwali itself. So this is the gulab jamun I made today, and that's the urad dal jalebi over there. So I'll show you a piece of the jalebi. So this is it. And if you want the recipe for this, it's already on my channel. Just make sure you make your hole a little bit smaller and it should come out perfect. And also, I didn't really explain to you the texture of the sugar syrup that well in the video, so I'm planning on doing a part 2 to that recipe, just explaining the sugar syrup. So this is my jalebi, and here I have my gulab jamun, and The next video that you guys will see from me will be a laddu recipe, and the one after that will be our paneer barfi or our sandesh recipe, and then the last one, which I will upload early morning on Saturday, I hope, will be our parsad recipe. So thank you all for watching this video today. I'm not quite sure how long it will be, but thanks for viewing the whole thing. If you made it this far, thanks so much. Till the next video, bye.